Hey guys, this is the 6th Warrior Quest Area 6 in DFFOO Global. First off, hi Yuffie. Bye Yuffie. This run is going to be the ticket mission run where you don't need anything for Yuffie. As you can see, her only sole purpose is to start first at the start and bring Laguna in. That's it. She's not going to use any skills or any call abilities. I put Yuffie in party 1 because she naturally has high speed, so she is very likely to start first. Plus, at the start, if you notice, the boss will dispel or cleanse all their debuffs. However, if you have Laguna in the back row and you swap him in, immediately the bosses will get 3 debuffs, which helps you fill up their debuff slot. One of the goals in this strat is to land 8 full debuffs on both bosses each before they hit 70% frost gauge. With Laguna and Sice, this is actually fairly simple to do. Laguna himself contributes 5 debuffs per boss, 3 when he comes in, 1 from his BT plus Desperado, and 1 from this LD Ragnarok attack. And Sice will land her Maelstrom Trap debuff, so just by doing this the bosses already have 6 debuffs, which means that you only need to land 2 more debuffs to fill up their debuff slots. There are of course many ways to land the last 2 debuffs per boss. However, with this strat, what I did is use the combination of Kurasame LD Call and Dark Knight Cecile LD Call because the HP damage up bonus that they provide helps a lot in the off-turn damage in this strategy. Anyway, I'm still essentially on my first turn. What you want to do is alternate between Laguna and Sice so that you can land all 6 of their debuffs. Once that's done, you swap out to Penelo, immediately go into Penelo's BT mode. And one thing I want to mention here is that the final move in Penelo's BT mode should be Region Waltz. Do not use Haste Roomba last. Coming to Ursula's turn, honestly I'm not so sure whether Ursula is the best choice here. I was sort of thinking her BT aura would help a lot when the bosses dispels all your buffs later in the fight, but on hindsight the combination of Penelo and Rem is pretty much all the support you actually need. So one option to consider is to swap Ursula out for a damage dealing FR character such as maybe Baltier or Twins could potentially fit in better. Anyway, with this unit, what I did is go Kurasame Call to land the hero debuff, go BT plus and end her turn with LD. One important thing damage wise, you want to leave the targeting cursor on boss B throughout the entire setup phase. I will mention when to switch over the targeting to boss A, but essentially what you want to do is throw every single attack in the startup on boss B. Now the next few actions are extremely precise. You do not have room to add on any further actions beyond what I did. I will enter force time when the boss is either at 99.5% force gauge or 99.6% force gauge. And in case you are wondering whether or not I got lucky, no, it is actually pretty consistent. As long as the setup is the same, you should always be entering force time when the boss hits 99.5 or 99.6% force gauge. This is why I said the actions are pretty precise. On Ram's turn, I use the Dark Knight Cecile LD call. It's important to start off with this call because this lands the 8th and final debuff on the bosses. By having all 8 debuffs on the boss, when they hit 70% force gauge, they essentially will not do anything. If you have fewer than that, they will land an attack on your party. Once Ram has done BT Plus and the Dark Knight Cecile LD call, use exactly 3 cures. Do not use any more than that, or you will burn out her LD aura and BT Plus aura. Once that's done, swap over back to Sice finally and use the General Leo LD call. Notice that the targeting cursor is still on boss B. This is key because at the start, you want to try to have boss B a few percentage points lower in health than boss A. End Sice's turn using her LD to refresh her Maelstrom trap. Finally, Penelo starts her turn, and if you look at the force gauge on both sides, it is pretty close, but I've hit 100% before the bosses. I've done this run almost like 10 times and every time I come to these results, so it is fairly consistent. Now that you're in Penelo's force time, you want to use exactly 2 Regen Vaults and 2 Haste Room Bar, starting off with Regen Vaults and alternating in between. Or in other words, go S2, S1, S2, S1. As Penelo is building the force gauge bonus, just a quick mention about the strategy and why I chose this. In all honesty, I think if you just bring 5 or 6 characters with echoes, you can just go into force time and spam echoes to the end of the fight. The great thing about this party and this strategy is that the buffs and debuffs don't really matter too much. Only 2 things that you really need to do with this strategy is to fill up 8 debuffs at the start, which is easy with Laguna and Sice. And the second one is to reapply Sice's LD trap. Everything else doesn't really matter, even if all your debuffs are cleansed or dispelled later in the fight. If you want to spam echoes though, I would recommend to bring echoes character with also BT+. One good thing is that they can't remove your BT plus auras, so you can just stack BT auras and still push out some nice damage even without buffs on your party. Now that that's finally done, the real damage can begin. It is here that you finally switch over the targeting cursor to boss A. First off, use the Rain's LD call on boss A. Just a quick explanation on why the difference in targeting and such. The whole idea is to keep a very close control on the enemy's health so that you trigger the HP thresholds at very specific time points. This is because at very specific HP thresholds, boss A will cleanse debuffs on the enemy party, and this removes Sice's traps. So you want to line up so that Sice will immediately get to act right after the boss cleanses the debuffs, so that she can immediately reapply her trap. This sounds very tricky, but this is where Rem and Ursula comes in and the range LD call. Notice that I targeted Sice with the range LD call, because this attack right here with Penelo will bring boss A to 69% health. So at 69% health, boss A will start glowing again. The only thing that matters here in this run is that boss A will remove all the enemy's debuffs. The only one that remains is Laguna's Desperado because it is gold framed. But because I've pulled Sice's turn with the range LD call, here she just reapplies her trap again. And really, these are the only two debuffs that you need. The rest does not matter anymore. The rest were there only so that you can prevent the attack when the bosses hit 70% force gauge earlier in the fight. Next up, you want to bring the bosses to 49%. This is because they have 1 HP gate in this fight, which is 49%. In addition to the 49% being gated, the boss A will also re-cleanse all their debuffs at 49%, which means once more you need to line up Sice's turn. This is fairly easy to do. What you want to do first is just use 1 FR with Ursula to bring them close to 49%. Then swap Ursula for Rem. Use Rem's FR targeting Sice. I must say this is one of the reasons why Rem is a very strong unit in the Echoes era. Having turn manipulation tied to your FR is really very strong utility, and this is one good case example of it. So I've hit the 49% gate right here, boss have cleansed the debuffs, and interestingly actually Rem's follow-up attack triggers after the gate, so her siphoning strikes actually does do damage past the gate. Now that the gate is gone, it's a great time to pop Brother's Summon. First off, Sice gets a turn here because of Rem's FR pulling her turn back, so this is a great opportunity to use her last LD and reapply Maelstrom Trap. Now Penelo acts next, and eventually what you want to do is use LD with Penelo, because the LD will reapply some buffs on your party. If you notice, there's no more buffs because at 49%, boss A also dispels all your buffs. But before that, Ursula has one more Echoes, so this is the great opportunity to swap her in. Ursula's Echo right here should still do some nice damage because her buffs are still up. She was in the back row when the boss hit 49%. Now that that's done, you can just swap Penelo back in and use the LD. The LD is there not only to reapply buffs on Rem and Sice. The other reason also is that Penelo still has the range LD call aura, so the LD use will cause a launch and will also cause the other target to be launchable the next turn. This is a significant boost to overall damage. Rem acts again, and there's only one turn of force time remaining. Unfortunately, Rem is out of LD users, so the next attack here won't have siphoning strikes. But the bosses are close enough to dead, and using Rem's FR Echoes on herself will allow her another turn, which means that you get one more turn of force time after this, where you can use Rem's LD to refresh her LD buff and do some nice damage. At this point here, I'm close to the end of summon mode. One important thing is that if you can't kill off the boss in your force time, it's not the end of the world. What is important though is that you kill off boss A. Boss B doesn't really matter too much, you can take your sweet time to finish it off afterwards. So boss A is sort of dead here, but boss B unfortunately survived the force time with 1% health, and I'm the end of summon mode, but like I said, it doesn't matter, and I'll show you why. First off, bring back Ursula. Ursula's EX is instant turn, so it's a great move to use on the final turn of summon mode. Now if boss A is dead, boss B can still enter force time, but boss B doesn't actually have any force attack. So as you can see here, it entered force time, but it doesn't actually do anything. And because you've delayed its turn so much, you have so many turns to act. So you can really just take your own sweet time and finish it off. What I did here is just spam chakra to the end. Anyway, that's it for this fight. As always, I hope the video has been helpful, and if you enjoyed the content, do leave a like, comment and subscribe. It really helps a lot. Till then, I'll see you guys in the next Shinryu fight. Bye!